Hi gorgeous ones, welcome to day 6 of my distraction series. I hope that wherever you are right now you are safe and you are well and you are navigating your way through this really challenging time with coronavirus with as much ease and grace as you can find. If you haven't already seen my previous videos, I've been doing one video a day for this is the 6th day, where I read to you from my first book, The Men I've Almost Dated, in the hope to distract you from what's going on in our lives right now. And I think we all need a bit of a distraction sometimes, and I know that a lot of us are on our devices way more than we usually are. I certainly am. So I thought, well, why not give you something maybe a bit entertaining and distracting to watch just for a few moments. Now, before I start today, I did actually want to mention, like you may have noticed this really cool book cover right in the back here. And I wanted to do a shout out to the fabulous woman who designed my book cover and who is actually working on my next book as we speak. Her name is Hannah Munster from Munster Design and Print. So shout out to Hannah, and I'll tag her below this video so you can check out her work if you want. If you're looking for a great illustrator or a graphic designer, please check out Hannah's work. She and I have worked together on and off for, I think it's about 9 years now. She's incredibly creative, and she has this amazing talent for taking somewhat vague briefs, design briefs, and converting them into something amazing. And look, I won't lie, sometimes as a client, you aren't really sure exactly what you want, and you kind of just have to talk to them about it. And then when you work with someone who's really creative at what they do, they go away and they come up with something that you think, oh, they just somehow worked out in all that muddled conversation exactly what was right and gave it to me. Anyway, that's as an aside. Check out Hannah's work, she's amazing. And in the meantime, let's get on to day 6 of the distraction series, page 29 of the book. Oh, by the way, you can get this book, if you don't want to just wait for the slow reading of it, you can buy this book on Amazon and any other good online bookstore, the usual places. You can get it as a print version or a ebook version or whatever it is, the format that you usually have. And obviously I'm the author, and so yep, I would love you to buy the book, you know, because it goes towards helping me to sustain myself so I can keep producing more. All right, the departure lounge, let's get going. Deciding to leave Daniel was incredibly difficult. And I asked so many people, how will I know what to do? What should I do? The questions would ring in my head morning, noon and night. Like tinnitus, I just couldn't drown them out. Alcohol and denial didn't work. Laughing it off didn't work either. Only I could make the decision, and I still sought guidance from almost everyone. My friend Jamie, who by this stage had left her destructive marriage, gave me some wonderful advice. Stop pressuring yourself, she said as we sat at our local pub one night. We were drinking wine as usual and attempting to drown our sorrows. When the time is right, you'll know what to do. It sounded so simple, but I found it so very difficult. I'd never been great at just parking something in my brain and letting time sort it out. So I tormented myself about what I should do and how it would impact other people, hurt them, make them disappointed, or prove them right. I almost went mad. I'm surprised I managed to hold down jobs while I was in that place of constant confusion and indecision. When it became clear our relationship was in serious trouble, Daniel and I tried to pull it back from the brink by visiting Raina, my counsellor. But she put Daniel offside in the first session. Would you love Lucretia as much if she was 100 kilos heavier? She asked. Of course, he said indignantly. For him, it was a dumb question because when you loved someone, you loved all of them, no matter what. Raina laughed and clearly didn't believe him. She'd been through a divorce of her own and was jaded about men and marriage. Daniel wasn't impressed with her attitude, and it was obvious Raina wasn't the right person to help heal our marriage. She'd been great at helping me understand the changes I was experiencing, but she was too tainted by her own breakups to help us. Daniel and I moved on to a male counsellor after that, but it didn't help. We kept falling into the same patterns. I wanted him to surprise me and do something different. Let's go rock climbing or abseiling, I'd suggest. He kept taking me out for dinner. just like he always had. On the surface, it was such a small thing, but it was a symptom of our separateness. We weren't on the same page. I needed our relationship to grow. I wanted to grow. I wanted to explore and expand, but he wanted things to stay the same. We just weren't hearing each other anymore. Our relationship limped onwards. In October 2005, we celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary with a weekend getaway in the Sunshine Coast hinterland. Daniel organised a romantic cabin for us to stay in, and we dined in an intimate restaurant, conducive to holding hands and rekindling our relationship. But in the cabin where we stayed, the sex was nondescript. I wanted desperately to connect, but I just couldn't feel anything anymore. We returned home on Sunday night, and halfway through watching some mind-numbing program on television, I found myself rising from the couch as tears began filling my eyes. Then I simply walked to the bedroom and began packing a bag. I couldn't stop crying. I remember holding onto the towel rail in the bathroom minutes later, doubled over and sobbing, while Daniel stood in the doorway and asked with panic in his voice, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" "I'm sorry, I have to go," I said. "I can't do this anymore." In less than 15 minutes, I was in my car driving to my parents' house. I knew I'd done the right thing. It was time. Jamie was right. When you know, you know. But I was wretched with grief. Dad was travelling for work, but sent his advice by email the next day. "If Lucretia doesn't want children with Daniel, then she should just call it quits," he wrote. I guess everyone has their own way of making sense of relationships. Dad, like so many men of his generation, saw these issues in impervious blacks and blinding whites. Having children and a family was how he made sense of it all. Life may be simpler that way, but my brain never conformed to that model. The question of children was the least of our problems. Daniel and I began a trial separation and had more counselling, but it didn't work. Our dates during that time felt forced, and when I tried flirting with him, my words sounded unconvincing even to my ears. He still wanted to take me out for dinner. I still wanted to go rock climbing. On the Australia Day weekend in late January, we found ourselves lying in bed together, quietly breathing and staring at the ceiling in the house we'd shared for so long. We'd spent the afternoon just hanging out before lying down for an afternoon nap. It was almost 4 months since I'd moved out. We lay side by side for a long time, and then came the moment when we both realised it was over. We had done everything we could, but it was done. Nothing was said, but we knew it in our hearts. There was no acrimony, and the settlement was straightforward. I felt guilty for leaving and didn't fight very hard over the financial side of things. My solicitor was frustrated about that. "Women often give away more than they should in these situations," she said. "You're too nice, or if you've been the one to walk away, you just feel too guilty to fight." The solicitor was right. I did feel guilty, and I would feel guilty for years to come. When the courts officially ended my marriage, a large part of my life was over. I was at the airport of life and about to leave the departure lounge. But even as I boarded the plane, I didn't know my destination. So you can see that was a pretty intense time in my life. And I know that many of you watching have been through a similar experience. And I know you can relate. Anyway, that's today's reading over, and I will be back again to do it all again tomorrow on day 7. Take care, I love you lots, and I will see you all then. Bye for now.